The Ninja FOODI digital air fry oven. I just got it a couple of days ago, and if you ask me, a toaster oven has to do one or two things, and one of those is frozen pizzas, because that's what I primarily do with it at my house. And as cheap as frozen pizzas are, and as far as they have came recently, but especially since I was a kid, you can get pizzas really, when you use one of these type ovens with the convection or the air fry air moving across them, they're as good as most places you go and buy them. They're really cheap, around $6 a piece. And I also I add stuff. I might put, I might buy a plain pizza, a pepperoni, and add, maybe put mozzarella, mushrooms, even anchovies. I use anchovies. I like them. A lot of people don't, but I do. You can grate your own Parmesan now. It's come a long way. I mean, don't discount the frozen pizza, by all means. I eat them all the time. I mean, you can go back to the old standard. When I was a kid, this is what was on all the tables. And also, if everything goes good tonight, we're going to do some chocolate chip cookies in the sheet pan that comes with the oven. So, y'all hold on. I'm John Sanders, also known as #Jelly007, as you can see over there that I set up. And we're going to see how this thing does pizzas. I'll be right back. Okay, so a couple of things I wanted to say is in their recipe book, they have a recipe for homemade pizza, which is totally different than air fry, and I get it. They always, in every one I've found, even for their frozen pizza recipes or instructions, they recommend using that pan. Now, I may be wrong, but I have never, and I like a thin, crispy crust, and that's why I have picked this pizza, which is a thin crust hand-tossed pizza with just pepperoni, and I'm probably not going to add any of the special stuff I do tonight just to see how it does. But they recommend using somewhere in here the air roast feature. Well, that's what I'm going to use, even though right here, and I have learned a lot about this oven in the last couple of days, or I've learned some things. It shows pizza right here. It says bake, which doesn't even call for the fan. I'm not a big fan of that, but it says that for frozen pizzas, so maybe I'm doing it wrong. But I promise you, I don't think I am, and that's not how I normally do it in any of my other toaster ovens. And I realize I got a pretty bad shadow on the picture I'm trying to show you. But you see it says sheet pan, but I want a thin, I want a crispy crust. So that's why I'm not using that. Now, one thing I'm going to say since we're on here is I found the other day, if you look at these settings, you see how dark that is, and then that's a little bit lighter? Well, there's the key, or the legend, which would be maximum speed means that, medium speed means that, and then no fan is, say, that. So the one I'm using has got medium fan. I think that'll be fine. That's what I think makes these work so well, is moving that air across a frozen pizza gets that moisture that builds up on a frozen pizza. So I think it's a really good idea. Again, right there's the stuff you could put on it, and I think it makes them great. I've even got an aero garden that I grow my own basil, because I do have what they call an uni oven, and it's a pizza oven that gets like 1,000 degrees. In fact, last time we used it, it was 850 in like 25 minutes. It's amazing. So when I make a hand pizza, that's usually how I cook it. Although I may do that in here just to show y'all on a different video. But tonight, again, frozen pizzas. I'm fixing to get it preheated. This one calls for 375 for 15 to 17 minutes. Well, I know enough from doing this before. You do not go by the time, by all means. The temperature, I'm probably going to lower, I don't know. It says 375. I may go 360 or something. It probably would be best. In fact, it recommends, and most of them do, to recommend, say, dropping 25 degrees. But I'm going to go around 360. I'm not going to leave. I'm going to watch it. This thing will do a 13-inch pizza, and that is a very, very common size. A 12-inch pizza, but the 13-inch, I really like. That's the same thing my Breville does, and it gets used a lot. I'm going to hush, and I'm going to get this thing preheated. We're going to put this pizza in and see how it does, and I will be right back. Okay, so I turned it on and let it preheat, but then I decided that you might want to see this, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to turn it to air roast, and it sets up, well, actually, I had it set on 360, but if you wanted to change that, you press the temp button, and you would take that to wherever you wanted it. We're going back to 360. Now I want to say this thing preheats faster than anything I've ever seen. I think it has to do with those 6 elements in that small space, and that's a good thing. And you also heard me say that it called for, I think, 15 to 17 minutes, and I doubt it will take that long, so I'm not sure. But to make sure my oven's hot, and I think that's important with pizzas, I press the time. I'll have to press again to get it to flashing. And then I'm going to take it to, say, 25 minutes. All right, then I'm going to turn it on. It's going to preheat, and I'm going to let it count down to, say, 20 before I put my pizza in. That's just, I'm not in a hurry, so that's what I want to do, because I want to make sure the oven's plenty heated up, and I trust it. It says it's preheated, but either way, I'm going to do that. So it may already be preheated. No, it's got to preheat, and the fans don't even come on while it's preheating. It just heats up the elements, and then less than a minute, I think. I've never timed it, but it's close to a minute. It'll come on, and then once it preheats, it'll automatically start counting down. So when it gets to 20 minutes, I'm going to bring y'all back. We're going to slide that in, and then we're just going to watch it with that light and make sure it looks good. And when it gets to looking like I want, we're going to pull it out. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we're getting very close. Now, one thing I will say is quite honestly, I got DIGIORNO tonight because it's a good pizza. I just wanted something that everybody could be familiar with and could easily get. I usually cook a California kitchen, or there's something, I guess there's a lot of things I don't know how to pronounce that I eat, but it's a Palermo, Palermo, I think. But they all of them do great. This DIGIORNO is a great pizza. We eat them every once in a while. I just normally get the other kinds. They're a little thinner. I've noticed this thin, hand-tossed, is a little thicker than normal. So anyhow, we're at 20 minutes, so I'm going to open it up. I'm going to slide it in just like that, and I don't see any reason to slide that out, but we got it in there. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the light. I don't know if it'll stay on the whole time. But so at around 19 minutes and 30 seconds, we got the pizza in, and that's why I wanted to use one you could get. So maybe if you're going by my times and temps, you'll have a little better idea of what this particular pizza uses. And another thing I can say is that's why I don't think they put times in this book, because there's so many different thicknesses and types. I mean, you saw what I had there. That was 4 different kinds: thick crust, stuffed crust. Everything's different with them. So, long story, if you get one, your times will be different if you don't get this particular one. So now you know. Okay, so I might get a little annoying with this, but that is 12 minutes. Now I want to show you in case you want to pull yours out at that moment. Now I don't. I like mine a little browner than that, but that is pretty close to perfect, I'm sure, to a lot of people. And again, even this one hot spot, and I know I got a lot of reflection, but that one hot spot's not bad. But if you see that cheese, it's like it's alive. I mean, look at it. I'm going to hold the camera as steady as I can, and I'll put it back on the tripod in just a minute. But, hey, it looks really, really good. And now we're almost at, I had to do the math. I think that's 13 minutes, right? Anyhow, you know, at 6 minutes and 30 seconds will be 13 minutes. So anyhow, I'll be back in just a second. We're really close to pulling it out. Okay, we're coming up on 14 minutes. I'm going to pull it out. And I will say, I laid my pizza tray up here to help it get warm, and that'll just keep the pizza warm. But first thing I usually do is put it on a wire rack. No big deal. You can put it straight on there. But now we're right at 14 minutes. Let's just see what we got. I'm going to pull it out like this right here before I take it off. And I think you can see that is pretty close to perfect. So we're going to slide it off right here, and I'll show it to you a little better. Let me get everything together. I'm going to turn it off. It doesn't turn off when you open the door. I'm not used to that, but it doesn't. And one other thing, say you wanted this really charred up on top. Wow, I like to drop that. I'll move the camera instead of the pizza. Is if you wanted that charred up on top, you just go to air broil. And I just read, all that does is run, let's see, where's it at? Air broil. high heat from the top only. So that probably would not be a bad idea, but that there is nothing wrong with it. I'm gonna see if I can get you a better picture. And it's getting a little tricky to do. You can see there's nothing wrong with that. Well, we're fixing to let it sit right there just a minute, and then we'll try and look at the crust on the bottom, and I'll come up with a way to do that, but I'll be right back. Okay, so for the bottom of the crust, it's set for a few minutes and kind of rested. But listen, you can hear the crust is right, and there's what it looks like. Make sure you can see it, but there's nothing wrong with that crust. And honestly, you may be like me. I could have left it in a little longer, and you can see the only hot spot I got, if any, was that. Could have rotated that and then left it in a little longer, and it would have got even crispier. But honestly, that is really close to perfect. And if I had some of my extra stuff on, it would really be neat. I'm going to move it to right here. It's been on here long enough, kind of air that crust out. We're going to get it sliced up, meat a piece, and I'll be right back. Okay, let's cut it up. And I've been dying to use this. I bought it the other day at a clearance store, actually. And it looks pretty neat. So let's see how it works. And I cut right through some of them, but it's got a squeak to it. But hey, it's cutting the pizza, and that's all that matters. And so far, so good. It does squeak a little bit, but anyhow, it worked. It's brand new. That's the first time I ever used it. But let's make sure I'm all the way through, because these are ready to eat. And I had to touch up on them. I might have to go back to my old school pizza slicer, but it's going to be all right. In fact, I'm going to finish that in just a minute. I'm fixing to get a plate, and I'm going to eat some of that so I can tell y'all how good it is, although I think y'all already know. Be right back. Okay, so here it is, and I'm obviously going to show it to you. Hold on just a second. I'm going to show you the bottom of the pizzas, a little better look, and you can see it's good. I mean, it definitely could have stood more, but there's nothing wrong with that. Most people like it that way, and quite honestly, I do. Now, here's that hot spot that I had, and you can see the crust got just a little brown there, but nothing bad. I'm impressed. It's something you could definitely get a pizza, I think, exactly like you want it with just a few tries. And obviously, I'm going to take a bite of it. And it's DIGIORNO, and it's good. I love DIGIORNO. I just normally buy, I can get those others cheaper sometimes. And I love them. In fact, that hand-tossed crust is really good. Anyhow, we're fixing to get some cookies in here and see how it does with that. I almost forgot. So hold on. We're going to get those chocolate chip cookies going. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have found, again, what they call for, and it is bake feature for cookies. And although it called it for pizza one ago, we didn't use it, and that seemed to work fine. But it's high, even heat from top and bottom with no fan. And you use a pan, of course, so we're definitely going to use a pan. There's the pan. Here's what Nestle Toll House recommends, which is 350 degrees. Break along, blah, blah, blah. Bake 12 to 13 minutes or until golden brown. So we're going to go by the or until golden brown. Anyhow, I'm going to get that started. I'll be right back. Okay, so that's how I'm going to arrange them. They want them 3 inches apart. Now, I do this all the time. I don't usually pay any attention, but it says right there 3 inches apart on an ungreased baking sheet. And if you know how these come, and these are the ultimate chip lovers or something, well, they come pre-scored, so they're already made up for you. I didn't know if you knew that. I wanted to show it. Now, it wanted 350 on bake, and that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to lower the temp. I'm going to go exactly what they call for, and I'm going to watch them. And again, I'm just going to show you right here. I'm going to take it to 350, and then we're going to say, I'm not leaving, so I'm going to put them around. I think it calls for 12 to 13 minutes. I'm going to put it on 15 minutes, and then I'll be watching them. So Right there is 15 minutes. Now I got to get it preheated, so there we go. We're preheating. As soon as that happens, we'll slide those in and see how they do. And that ought to give us an idea about even baking and give you an idea how cookies do. Be right back. Okay, it preheated real quick. I'm just going to put them in. And all we have to do, if say 15 minutes is not enough, all you have to do is press the time button. I haven't tried it. I've read it. But all you have to do is press the time button and then adjust your time near the end when you see you're not going to have enough time. So be right back. Okay, I'm going to pull them at 11 minutes. And let's see what they look like just to make sure I'm going to keep them out. And I think those are done. So we're going to set them over here on the wire rack. I'll turn this off. We're going to let those cool a little bit. We're going to get on and see how they are. Be right back. All right, here they are. We're going to see the bottoms and all right now. And you can see that is very pretty. It might be a touch brown, but not really bad. Probably could have pulled it a minute earlier, but they all are even, every one of them. And that light, sometimes I have trouble with my lighting. But that, to be honest with you, there's nothing wrong with that. And they all are pretty evenly coated on top. They certainly look the same, and on bottom also. So if you want them a little lighter than on the bottom, I guess you could have pulled them a minute or so earlier. But again, I'm impressed. The Ninja has impressed me many, many times. That coating really just now did. And the fact that these cookies cooked up so well. And I mean, you can see that they look great. The pizza did great too. So, like I said, I'm thinking some ice cream or something would be out of this world with that. And in fact, perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, that time is close. Now, I hope you can see that. I thought maybe they're dark, but not by taste. In fact, that is spot on. So, now you know, it cooks pizza excellent, and it cooks cookies excellent. And mainly the pizza. A toaster oven has to do that in this house, because that's what it's going to get used for. And I think it's got a great size deck on it. Everything, it's got that's the problem with some of them. They're too small to put a 12-inch pizza in. Well, if you can't put a 12-inch pizza in one, it's hard to justify the counter space as far as I'm concerned. And I like the low height. Now, again, you can't do a whole chicken. Some of the things I've said this on the other videos. But I'm going to put that magnetic cutting board right here. And I'm not going to do the thing it does like where it folds up. And it's kind of hot right now. But as a matter of fact, I'll say this too. When it gets cool enough for it, when it's safe to flip, it'll say flip right here. That's what I saw it do the other night. And that means you can safely stand it up and open up your counter space. But again, so far so good. I'm impressed with what it does. And for the price, I like it. Now, it won't do like my Breville. I keep mentioning it. It's not as big as my Breville. The Breville's twice the price, or a little more. And the Breville's great. There's nothing wrong with it either. But this will probably be my inside toaster oven from now on. And my Breville will stay probably where it is, which is a great spot. If you ask me, I can do a lot of things outside, long cooks and everything. I'm going to hush. You see what it did? The pizza looked great. The cookies look great. We are done. So I'm going to put my big head right here for you to subscribe floating around. And I'll put a couple of videos probably on this toaster oven over here somewhere. So, hey, thank y'all for watching. I love y'all all. And over here, if you see my sign I worked on, I don't know if you can tell. I even got it lit up. So, hashtag Jelly007. Y'all come back to see me. I love y'all all. Bye-bye.